Hello, everybody. No, your eyes do not deceive you. Welcome back to a new episode of Box Office Talk. It's been 2 years since the last episode when COVID shut down, and even though things were back to semi-normal at the box office, it wasn't normal enough for me, and it was just also like, ugh. Just looking at the box office was so depressing, and it took me a bit to finally get the motivation to get back into the swing of things because, yeah, I've been kind of lax, especially these past couple months, and I figured, getting back on kind of like a scheduled kind of weekly series thing could really help me out here. So here we are with Box Office Talk. It is back, fellas, and so are the Minions. We're going to go straight into it. Number one here, we have Minions, The Rise of Gru, coming in at $108 million for the 3-day weekend. In case you forgot, we're only covering 3-day weekends. We're not going to be doing the holiday. And this is on a budget of $85 million. This is about the usual for Illumination films. They rarely go over the $100 million for the budget, so obviously they're going to be a smash hit all around. This is the second highest domestic opening weekend below the first Minions, which was $115 million, but it is above The Secret Life of Pets is $104. So, that is not too shabby at all, coming out of the pandemic and Minions 2 being delayed for 2 years, and you maybe are worried like, oh, is it going to make as much money as it did then? And it kind of did. It's just only like $7 million off, and this is not even counting how much it's going to make on the 4th of July. So that's, pretty incredible. Worldwide, it is sitting at $221 million. Really fantastic number. And I wanted to point out specifically that domestically and worldwide, it has already outgrossed Hop. I don't know why I wanted to mention that. I think just to show like already it's outgrossed one of their feature films. It's one of their worst, financially, but I don't know. I just wanted to mention Hop. It's been a while since anyone has talked about the, cultural landmine that is Hop. Moving on to number 2, Top Gun Maverick. This has been the box office movie that could, it's sitting at number 2 this weekend, which was where it was at last weekend. Elvis came out. We're going to talk about Elvis in a second, but Elvis came out to number 1, just barely squeaking by Top Gun, but now Top Gun is held over above Elvis. That's quite incredible. It's had an incredible hold these past couple of weeks. It made $25 million this weekend. That adds to a domestic total of $564 million, and worldwide it is setting at $1,048 million. Like, just incredible work that Tom Cruise has going at the box office for him right now. I think a lot of it does have, Top Gun is a classic movie. A lot of people love that original film. It's also a very patriotic movie, just in the sense that it focuses on the military and fighter pilots and all that shit. But it is also like Tom Cruise is flying out there for real with all these actors. It's not just him doing it. All these actors are doing all this real stuff, and people just like the movie in general, so word of mouth is spread. It's just, so many great things have been being pushed into the great success that is this movie. I never would have thought this movie would have done as well as it's doing, but here it is, and I'm very happy about that. As I mentioned, number 3 is Elvis. It made $19 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $67 million. So domestically, it has outgrossed all of the other Baz Luhrmann films except for The Great Gatsby. That one sits at $144 million, but worldwide, it is sitting at $113 million. And worldwide, it is sitting $34 million behind the total gross of Romeo and Juliet. And at that point, that's when it's going to start competing with all of the other Baz Luhrmann films that have come out since. It did definitely outgross both domestically and worldwide Strictly Ballroom, but that's because, that was Baz Luhrmann's, debut film. And I don't think a lot of people even really know about this movie unless you're like a really big Baz Luhrmann fan or just, really into film like that. As far as the movie as a whole, though, not comparing it to the other films, it's doing all right. Its budget is $85 million, and the standard for if it's doing well is if you double that, and see if it made that much money. And currently it's about $57 million below where it needs to be. And I think it's at a solid place right now where it could definitely build up to that point and squeak by it. But it's definitely not the smash hit that Top Gun Maverick is. It's not the smash hit that even like Bohemian Rhapsody was when that came out and blew everyone away at the box office for whatever reason. Number 4, we have Jurassic World Dominion, making $15 million, adding to a domestic total of $331 million. It has already outgrossed Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, and it is $67 million from outgrossing the first Jurassic Park. And worldwide, similarly, it has outgrossed Lost World and 3 already, and it is $217 million from outgrossing the original Jurassic Park. It is nowhere near outgrossing the other Jurassic World films yet. Even though it didn't drop off too bad from the opening weekend of Fallen Kingdom, it's still open with slightly less. So this series has kind of been, building on diminishing returns for a bit, but it's still, for diminishing returns, this is still pretty fucking excellent, because on a budget of 185 million worldwide, it's at 828 million. So, that's not bad at all, but it is, I think, some interest is starting to wane in this franchise. It's good that they're maybe closing out this trilogy specifically. I don't know what other franchise plans they have. Maybe they can start to not make them as expensive, maybe start to dabble in other projects like that. I don't know, but yeah, it's doing fine. Moving on to number 5, which is The Black Phone, making 12 million, adding to a domestic total of $47 million on a budget of 17 million. So domestically, it is already 13 million over that doubling point, which is great. But worldwide, it is also sitting at 76 million, which is, fantastic. It's $11 million away from outgrossing Sinister and Deliver Us from Evil, which is Scott Derrickson, two of Scott Derrickson's other films. It's definitely never going to outgross Doctor Strange, obviously, that first Doctor Strange movie. And I'm not sure if it'll have the legs to outgross The Day the Earth Stood Still and Exorcism of Emily Rose, worldwide at least. But domestically, it might have a bit more of a chance, 26 million away from Emily Rose and 30 million away from The Day the Earth Stood Still. So I think it might have a chance of outgrossing those two movies, at least domestically, which is, great, because this is a fantastic horror film. I know I haven't reviewed it yet, but I'm glad people are checking it out. Number 6, we have Lightyear, the animated film that I thought for sure was going to be the box office smash of the summer, but apparently not. It made $6 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $105 million. It's already outgrossed Onward, but that's, that's not really saying much, because Onward got fucked by the pandemic. It's 17 million away from outgrossing The Good Dinosaur, though, so it won't be considered like the lowest of the lowest grossing Pixar films, especially worldwide. It needs 144 million to outgross The Good Dinosaur, as it currently sits at $189 million. But, with that budget of 200 million, and a lot of times with these big blockbusters that have like this much money put into it, you have to at least double it, maybe even triple it to even be considered a success. At least the $500 million point, 500 million. And this is its third weekend, I believe, third or fourth weekend it's been out, and it is sitting at number 6 already, and it's not even close to getting to a doubling point. That's pretty sad, all things considered. I know a lot of people might want to say, well, get woke, get broke, because there was like 5 seconds of a lesbian couple on screen. But I don't know. I think maybe it more so has to do with like maybe people didn't like the fact that they were replacing Tim Allen. Maybe people just aren't into these kind of Toy Story-esque spin-offs as they predicted. Or maybe just the word of mouth got around that it was fine, nothing too special, something like that. I don't know. Either way, kind of a bummer for Pixar. But hey, goes to show you, I bet they were really betting on this movie being the one to make bank. And that's why they pushed stuff like Turning Red and Luca to Disney+. Goes to show you never really know. Number 7, we have Mr. Malcolm's List, a movie you probably have not heard of or seen anything advertisement-wise, but it's a delightful film that I would recommend you go see. It made $851,000 this weekend. It'll make $1 million if you count the 4th of July one, but as I said, on this show, we only do the 3-day weekend of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't know what its budget is. I couldn't find a budget, so unfortunately, I guess until worldwide numbers go in, because I think this will be a slightly bigger hit in the UK, I think it's safe to say this is kind of a flop. Bit of a bummer. Please, in the middle of seeing Minions and Top Gun again, please consider these other smaller films that don't get that much attention. It's always a bit of a bummer when these movies come out now and they just make nothing, especially now, seeing that it's an 851,000, not a 1 million or 2 million, like 1,000. That's a bummer. But I was so happy, this is a good segue, I was so happy to see this movie doing so well these past couple of weeks, past couple of months actually. Number 8 is Everything Everywhere All at Once, making $551,000 this weekend, but that adds to a domestic total of $67 million. Worldwide, it's at $86 million, and for an original film that cost $25 million to make, that is incredible. It has tripled its budget, and if it gets to $100 million worldwide, it'll quadruple it. That is insane, that is wonderful. Obviously, this is A24's highest grossing film domestically and worldwide. This movie has just been such an underdog, and what a win for independent cinema and, original ideas. It's a bummer I didn't bring this show back, sooner when it was doing really well, so we could really track the progression here of its success. Bum, 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 bum. Oh well. Number 9, we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This is Sam Raimi's highest grossing film domestically and worldwide, making $390,000 this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $410 million. That is $16 million away from outgrossing Captain Marvel, and worldwide it is sitting at $950 million, $179 million away from outgrossing Captain Marvel, which is the film that is next on both lists as far as its outgrossing. I'm not sure if it will worldwide, at least. I think domestically it has a... Well, actually, no, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's going to stop here. I'm not sure if it will outgross Captain Marvel at all or even get to $1 billion worldwide, but hey, what a fucking run, you know? Cost $200 million to make, you're at $950 million. You know, this is still a pretty good... You know, it's Disney and it's the MCU. They're always going to do fucking well. And last but not least, number 10, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Jug Jug GU. I'm sorry if I did that horribly. It made $320,000 this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $1.5 million on a budget of 85 crore. Not sure what that is because I'm uncultured and suck. Worldwide, though, it's at $2 million grossed. So good for this movie. If you know what this is and you're glad that it made it to the top 10, great. I have no fucking clue. So I guess this is the point where we're going to wrap up the video going into our predictions. So as you know, I give predictions for what the next week's top 5 is going to be, and if I'm correct, I don't know, you just find out if I'm correct or not. But if you guys leave comments down below with your predictions for what is going to be the top 5 and you are correct, you will be getting a shout out in the video. It's probably going to be very obvious though, so just fair warning, there's probably going to be a lot of shout outs at the end of that next video that comes out next week. I will say I'm going to try to be more, careful as far as like looking at like what's been edited, when was something commented. It's probably not going to be an exact science. I'm just one dude working here by myself, but I'm going to try my best. So my predictions for next week are that number 1 is going to be Thor: Love and Thunder, number 2 Minions: The Rise of Gru, number 3 Top Gun Maverick, number 4 Elvis, and number 5 Jurassic World Dominion. So as I said, leave your comments down below as far as what your predictions are going to be, any other thoughts you have on the box office, anything you think I should have mentioned, go ahead and talk about it down below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time. It's good to have this show back.